What's up, everybody? Welcome back into another episode of Tide Talk Live. Stacy Blackwood, joined as always by my good buddy Jake Thomas. Jake, it's a Wednesday afternoon, just a couple days before Alabama tips things off in Louisville for the Sweet 16 matchup against San Diego State. Spring practice has arrived for the football team, so there's a lot to kind of talk about here, and we're going to do our best to kind of keep this around 20 minutes or so we don't keep you guys too long. But we got a lot to discuss. Jake, before we get started, first of all, how you doing, buddy?
Doing great, man. It's middle of the week, so we're on the other side of it now. And man, like you said, just spring practice is upon us, and we still got that basketball natty we're going after too going on. So it's great to be a Tide fan right now.
Yeah, before we look at spring practice or the preview of the Alabama San Diego State game, Jake, the amount of attention that Coach Saban's quote had the other day is just it shows that people not only jump to conclusions, but they're not looking for a factual story.
Hmm.
They're just looking for the hottest story,
Right,
whether it's true or not, and whether it hurts somebody or not.
right.
And it's unbelievable to me. After all that Brandon Miller's been through and the whole Alabama basketball team, and now Nick Saban he just made a misstep in saying what he said. By the way, the PR department at Alabama has been a complete and utter failure. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah,
it's amazing to me how people will take a phrase like Coach Saban said that is said all the time. I mean, it's like a cliche, really,
right.
and they just took it and run with it, Jake, and it's really unfortunate.
Yeah, it is, and Saban, met with Coach Oates and the players today. That was good to see. But I a lot of people have been now come out and after those pictures have been out there for a while, they're saying, "Oh, that's photoshopped." I mean, just give me a break, people. I mean, my gosh.
Uh, the last couple of months, or I guess it's been about 6 weeks since the Brandon Miller thing really started catching fire. Um, the last 6 weeks has been really, really rough on Twitter.
Right, it has.
I can't really hardly stand to be on it.
Hmm.
It's made
Yeah.
it insufferable
Hmm.
because 90% of it is not based in facts at all.
Nope. Nope.
And so it's just really unfortunate. And, I guess that's what happens when you have, maybe the best basketball team in the country, the most prominent football team in the country. And, haters are going to hate. I mean, that's a cliche, but that is a fact. And that's what people, such as Clay Travis and, Pat Forty, all these woke guys on social media have been doing lately. And it's just, it's made social media, especially Twitter, really hard to be on the last few weeks, and it's
Hmm.
sad, it's ridiculous, and it's grown men acting like kids is really all it is.
Yeah, you're right, man. And you talked about it. It's just made it difficult to be on Twitter, and like you said, they want to be the first to get a story out there for all the lots and publicity. I'll get it
Yeah,
out in a minute. But that's it. That's it. They don't care about the facts, and not only not in sports, but also political as well.
yeah,
Nobody cares about facts anymore in this country. It seems like
you're
so.
right. That's exactly what it is, and they're not looking for a factual story. They're looking for clicks,
Yeah, that's it.
and that's all it is. And
Hmm.
you
Clout.
know, yeah,
Yeah.
and well, and what they don't realize, or I mean, I'm assuming they don't realize, or they wouldn't keep doing it, is that they're only you know creating a negative image for themselves.
Right. Exactly.
And in
Hmm.
the end, the truth will out. It
Yeah.
always does. The truth will out.
Hmm.
And that's why, we have not really said much about the entire situation. You know why? Because we don't
Hmm.
know what happened. We were not
Exactly.
there. We were
Nope.
not there.
Nope.
It would
It
be
wasn't.
completely irrational and just totally uh, uncalled for us to have a very strong opinion one way or the other on it. All I
Hmm.
do know is that the people that matter in the investigation don't think Brandon Miller has any involvement.
Right. Yep.
So my opinion doesn't matter.
Hmm.
So that
Right.
that's free, guys. We didn't really mean to get on that tangent, but it's just it's
Yeah.
sad. It's sad because a lot of young people have suffered because 50, 40, and 50-year-old men want to get clicks on their website.
That's it. That's all it is.
But anyways, hey Jake, real quick, we're gonna take a quick timeout. On the other side, we're gonna take a quick look at spring practice. There's a couple bits that need to be discussed for a couple minutes, but we'll do that here on the other side. First, we got to let our sponsor BetUS have a little segment here, so we'll be back in just a second. All right, guys, I want to tell you a little bit about betus.com. Make sure you click the link in the description below, sign up today, and make that first deposit. And when you do, you will be instantly rewarded with a 125% bonus from betus.com. And then you will also be entered into our contest for a $500 giveaway once we receive 30 signups from our link. So click the link in the description below and sign up today at betus.com. All right, buddy. Look, spring practice is underway. They had their first practice on Monday. They're practicing again today. They probably just wrapped up this afternoon's practice, but they'll practice again on Friday. On Monday, Coach Saban mentioned that two starters on the Alabama defense, Dallas Turner and Deontay Lawson, would not be competing, especially in any kind of physical contact this spring. They've had surgeries in the offseason, and they're going to be out for the entire spring. But he did mention that they should be ready to go, and they should not be affected once the fall camp rolls around here in a couple months. But Jake, if looking at those two guys, it really creates opportunities for younger players to kind of step up and maybe get some extra reps and maybe a guy like Tresman Marshall, inside linebacker, the transfer from Georgia, is a guy that could get some extra reps. But your thoughts on what Coach Saban had to say about the injured players and what that makes you feel about spring practice as a whole.
I hope they get healthy. We need Dallas Turner and Deontay Lawson out there, but it's just spring now, so they got all summer to get healed back up and all that. But getting to fall camp, we don't need to have any kind of lingering injuries, and we certainly don't need to get any major guys injured. So if anybody's got an ailment right now, let them set out for spring practice. It may they may be locked in a battle for their spot come fall, but if they're the better player, they'll win out anyway. But if you're hurting, you just need to sit out. So I hope them guys have a speedy recovery. But I think Dallas Turner for sure his position is locked, and I feel like the way Lawson ended the year, especially playing the bowl game, I think he's a lot to be a starter as well.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question about that. He was getting he had a couple starts last year when Jalen Moody got injured, so he has a lot of experience and
Mm-hmm.
he's a great football player. And their experience will be missed this spring. But like you
Right.
said, you ain't really got to worry about competition as far as an opponent this spring. So it's really not that critical. But it'll be nice for them younger players to get some reps.
Yeah.
And today, Jake, J.C. Latham got a chance to speak to the media. I don't know if you've seen this yet or not, but he said he's wanting to get the offensive line, the mentality, a ruthless mentality is the way he put
Mm-hmm.
it, Jake. And I know that's got to have you excited because it's got me excited. And, he's wanting those guys on the opposite side to fear the Alabama offensive line once again, which is really what Nick Saban built or how he built the dynasty there at Alabama. So your thoughts real quick on what J.C. Latham had to say.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up if you didn't, because I saw that and I was like, man, I got fired up because it seems like, the offensive line has kind of, I mean, it's not, it seems like it has, it's kind of struggled the past couple of years.
Yep.
And it's like they just didn't have that ruthless mentality. They didn't push anybody around like some of the offensive lines of the past did. But the JC Latham and those guys get it together. I mean, we know what's down there. We know the size. We know the height, and we know the athleticism on that offensive line. I mean, if they get that mindset right, boy, they're going to be a handle in the trenches this year for teams. So, I expect that to see Latham and them guys to actually get back to that ruthless mentality. So I'm very excited for that. to
Yeah,
see if that comes true or
yeah,
not.
keeping it on the offensive line, Jake. To begin spring practice, it was Elijah Pritchett at left tackle, Darian Dalcourt at left guard, Seth McLaughlin at center, Tyler Booker at right guard, and J.C. Latham at right tackle. Your thoughts? I guess the biggest surprise of that would be that Darian Dalcourt is at left guard. But, if you think about it, we shouldn't be too shocked. He's won the starting center job 2 straight seasons over Seth McLaughlin, but injuries have implemented Seth McLaughlin at center, and it seems like the chemistry and the continuity and the communication is better with Seth at center. So I guess we shouldn't be too shocked that Dalcourt has come back and he's getting a shot at guard. He's bumped up to around 310 pounds, which is by far the heaviest he's been since his time at Alabama. So your initial thoughts on what that potential starting five would be for Alabama?
Man, I'm excited about that too because Dalcourt brings you experience, like
Yeah.
you said, on that offensive line. And if he is truly going to be the left guard, and we have Pritchett at left tackle, he can help Pritchett out experience wise, get him, and help him out along the way and everything. So and then of course you'll have Booker who kind of played a little bit last year at right guard, but you'll have Latham who's there on the outside of him to keep to work on things as well. And then, of course, center cut and great center in Seth. So we know what he can do. And it seems like we talked about this in the past. The offensive line, the run blocking is a lot better with Seth at center. So I expect that to improve this year as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to kind of watch what happens this spring with the offensive line because, look, Darren Dalcourt's there right now, but Caden Proctor is a super
Oh
talented
man.
guy at 6'7", 354 pounds as a true freshman.
God.
I mean, good grief, that is a mammoth of a man. But
Yeah.
I'm anxious to see what happens there along the offensive line, not only this spring, but over the summer and through fall camp. And before we wrap up the spring practice talk, Jake, and this is going to throw you off guard because I didn't tell you I was going to ask you this. What is something, and you can't say the quarterbacks on the offense side of the
Right.
ball. That's cheating. That's low-hanging fruit. But
Right.
what is something you're most excited or most anxious to kind of see develop throughout spring practice?
I'm anxious to see, how the tight ends look in this new system that Tommy Reese is bringing in, because we know what he can do and what he does with tight ends, and who's going to be that second guy? Because I feel like CJ is going to be the first guy, but who's going to be that second guy? Who's going to be on the opposite side of the line with him if they go a two tight end system? So I'm anxious to see how the tight end battle is.
Well,
This
especially because Coach Saban also mentioned on Monday that Robbie Oates is a little banged up as well. He's not
Mhm.
going to be participating in any of the scrimmages. So, does that pave a way for an Amari Niblack or a Miles
Mhm.
Kitzelman or maybe a Danny Lewis or all the plethora of tight ends they have there in Tuscaloosa? So I'm with you.
Right.
That's going to be a really interesting position group to kind of keep up with this spring. But I'm going to go to the opposite side of the football, Jake, and I'm
Mhm.
looking at the secondary, Jake. No more Jordan Battle. No more DeMarco Helms. No more Brian Branch. How does the back end look? We got Kool-Aid McKinstry. I think Terry Arnold's going to start at the other corner because he started, I think, 6 or 7 games last
Right.
season as a redshirt freshman. So
Mhm.
I think we're probably going to be set at corner with those two guys. But then, what do we do with Malachi Moore? Does he move to safety? He's bulked up to over 200 pounds, so you have to
Mhm.
think that he's going to be making that move to safety. Does Caleb Downs play safety alongside him? Does Earl Little Jr. play the star position? Just how the back end of the defense looks for Alabama is going to be really really interesting to see. And we probably won't know much because it kind of depends on what kind of pictures they release, what kind of video
Mhm.
clips they allow because media is not allowed there. It's just
Right.
whatever the University of Alabama releases. So
Yeah.
uh, it's going to be interesting to see what that back end looks like because even though there's a lot of losses, a lot of experience gone. Kool-Aid, probably the best corner in the country. I think Malachi Moore is a guy who, if put in the right spot, can really flourish. We saw that as a true freshman back in 2020. And then also, the true freshman Caleb Downs, who to me is a good a football player as there is on the Alabama football roster. So
Right.
I'm excited to kind of see what happens with him as well. But that's going to wrap up our spring talk real quick. We're going to take one more quick time out to hear from our other sponsor, Latour Watches, and then we're going to give a quick preview of the Sweet 16 matchup between Alabama and San Diego State. We'll see you on the other side. All right, I want to tell you a little bit about Latour Watches. If you click the link in the description below, you're going to be carried to latourinwatches.com, where they have a vast selection of stylish yet affordable watches for all shapes and sizes. And when you click that link in the description below and you get carried to that website, when you sign out, you will receive free shipping on that watch. So make sure you follow the link in the description below and buy you a beautiful watch from Latour Watches. All right, guys, back again. Jake, Sweet 16, here we come. Alabama made the trip up to Louisville today. I think it's about a 5 or 6 hour trip from Tuscaloosa to Louisville, so not that far of a trip. They haven't had to travel much so for this tournament yet.
Right.
So that'll change if they make it to Houston, which we hope they do. But Jake, San Diego State, a really interesting team. I did some research on them for a post that I made on Roll Tide Wire. I write for them USA Today. But Jake, Alabama's never played San Diego State, which is really incredible to think
Yeah.
about. I mean,
It is.
San Diego State's always really had a solid basketball program, but San Diego State did lose to Arkansas early this year in overtime, 78-74 when they were playing in Maui. So they've played, I think, 4 Power 5 teams. They're 2-2 in those games. They beat Stanford and Ohio State, but they lost to Arkansas, and the other team is slipping me who they lost to. But they're obviously their schedule has not been quite as tough as Alabama's, and so
Yeah.
Alabama's a little more battle tested. They obviously have the most talent. But San Diego State is a veteran team. I think it's 4 seniors and 1 junior in their starting lineup. I think 2 of the seniors are graduate players, so really they're 6 year players or so, or 5th or 6th year players. So they are an experienced group. They play tough defense. I think they're number 5 in Kim Palm on defensive efficiency. They rotate every position or switch every position, I should say, 1 through 5. So it's not going to be an easy matchup for Alabama, but you got to think that Alabama's depth and Alabama's offensive talent is just going to be a little too much for the Aztecs.
Yeah, I agree. And the Aztecs don't have a star player like Brandon Miller that they can go to. If it's getting within 5 minutes left to go in the game and it's a close game, Alabama may be up 2, 4, 6 points is all. You just give the ball to Brandon Miller, just let him go to work because that's what he does. The
Or Javon
Aztecs don't.
Quinley.
Yeah, exactly. So the Aztecs don't. I don't feel like have a guy like that or have the guard play like Alabama has. You know, I mean, Sears has not got going yet, but when he does, it could be this could be this game. I hope so. But once he gets going and the way Cleary has been playing, the guards are the best in the country in my mind. So, you know,
Yeah, especially the combination of the two. That's what separates Alabama is that, both JQ and Mark Sears, that they're really good at getting to the rim, and they don't have to take a straight line to get there. They have great side to side play. Their ball handling ability is phenomenal, and we've talked about it really at nauseum
right.
on our show about what it takes to win a championship in college basketball. You better have some really good guard play. Check.
Hmm.
You better have somebody that you can rely on to get you a bucket. I've owned a couple guys,
Yeah, check.
and you better have somebody that can protect the rim.
Check.
And so I've looked at San Diego State's schedule, Jake. I think they've only scored 80 or more points 4 times this entire season. Jake,
Hmm.
Alabama scored over 100 4 times this season.
I know it.
So,
Yeah.
so I think while both teams are great defensively, I think Alabama's third in Ken Palm in defensive efficiency, and San Diego State is fifth. So both have phenomenal defenses. but Alabama is just too strong offensively, and
Hmm.
San Diego State is probably not going to be able to score quite enough to keep up with Alabama. I think the spread's around 7.5. The last time I looked,
Yeah.
I would be shocked if it's that close, to be honest with you, because I think Alabama just has a little bit too much offensive power for San Diego State to keep up with, and Alabama's going to be moving on to the Elite Eight.
Man, it's going to be a great game,
Yeah.
and I'm probably going to be biting my nails the entire game, to at least until the late in the second half. But and then of course Alabama also has that ability where they clicking early, and the game's over by halftime because just the way they play defensively as well. So Alabama, if they click early and on the offensive end, it could be a long night for the Aztecs too.
Well, Jake, they shot 28% against Maryland from three, and they still won the game by over 20 points.
I know
So,
it.
and I think
God.
obviously San Diego's a better team than Maryland.
Right.
But my point is, Jake, if Alabama plays exactly how they played against Maryland, but they're hitting their 3 point shots, you might as well forget it.
Yep. Absolutely.
Because defensively, Alabama's going to make it tough. They're gonna defend every shot. They're gonna do their best to affect every shot. Charles Bediako's playing the best basketball of his career. Brandon Miller has yet to really catch fire shooting
Hmm.
the basketball. That's not going to last forever. Mark
No.
Sears' shooting slump is not going to last forever.
Mm-mm.
And there's still Noah Clowney. He's capable of
Yeah.
going off. It's just
Hmm.
the amount of depth and quality depth that Alabama has is what separates them from maybe the rest of the field.
Right.
Outside of teams like UCLA or Gonzaga,
Hmm.
and maybe Texas, but and UConn. But
Hmm.
outside of that, there's like five teams to me, 4 or 5 teams that have the depth like Alabama has, and really Alabama's probably a step above those teams as well.
Right. And the thing about it is, all the good team. Well, I'm not going to say all of them, but most of the good teams that's left are on the other side of the bracket, so they're going to knock each other out. Alabama's, you know, rise or quest of the championship. I mean, it's right in front of them.
It
You
is.
know,
You're right, Jake. You're right, and
so
I think that's really. I mean, it hasn't sank in yet. Look, we have loved Alabama. We're both in our pretty much mid 30s. You might as well say.
yeah.
So we've been watching Alabama basketball for might as well say 30 years,
Hmm.
and they've made the Elite Eight once.
Right. Yep.
And so it hasn't sank in yet that there's a chance this team could really make the Final Four or even win a championship. Because to me, they have to be the favorite.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, I don't think it's crazy to say right now they're the best team. I mean, I don't think
Mhm.
that's crazy. I don't think that's being a homer. I think that's just factual.
Right.
Alabama at their best is the best.
100%.
And so it's just crazy that, look, they take care of San Diego State. They get either Princeton or Creighton. And if they get by all those teams, they're in the Final Four in Houston.
Yeah.
And be the first time in program history. What a job Nate Oats has done, Jake. And like I said, it hadn't sank in yet, but there's a
Hmm.
real possibility that Alabama's playing in Houston next weekend.
Oh yeah, there's a very strong possibility. I mean, at nauseum we've talked about
Yeah,
all the different things that they have that you need to win a championship, and this team's got it all.
they do. They got it all. They got it all. They got everything you're looking for.
Yep. And
All right. Well,
I never would have expected we've been in this situation this quickly under Nate Oats. I just
yeah,
want to say
it's
that real
the
quick.
fact that it's been this quick
Yeah.
is really it's unbelievable. It really is.
Pay
And
him again. I don't. I know he just got it. I just know he got the pay raise. Pay him again. I don't care.
yeah,
You know.
I think he also got a $25,000 bonus for
That's right.
advancing to the Sweet 16. So
Hmm.
maybe he
There
can
you go.
buy him a new ride or something. But
I hope so.
well, that don't even buy a new ride nowadays.
Not anymore. No. Barely buy milk and bread now and
Yeah.
eggs.
All
So,
right, guys. Well, that's going to wrap up this episode of Tide Talk Live. If you're not already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're closing in on 2,000 subscribers, so help us reach that goal. Make sure you like this video. Jump in the comments and let us know your thoughts on spring football or the Alabama basketball team. Just whatever your thoughts are on the Crimson Tide right now, let us know in the comments section below. Make sure you click links in the description below so you can get those great deals from BetUS and Latour Watches. But until next time, for Stacy Blackwood and Jake Thomas, roll Tide.
roll tide.